Welcome to the Porn Reboot podcast, where you get practical tips to gaining control over your porn or sex addiction. We help ambitious men end their out-of-control sexual behavior with pornography, sex, and masturbation so that you can maximize your life, perform at your potential, and remain in control in the driver's seat, which is where you have to be in order to gain or maintain the success you want in life. I'm your host, J.K. Emezi, certified sex and porn addiction recovery coach. Welcome to the episode. At Porn Reboot, we believe that compulsive sexual behavior needs to be tackled in a holistic way. We address not just your habits, but any traumatic events that have impacted you in your life. We also address co-occurring disorders, addictions, and habits, as well as limiting beliefs. So in order to best serve our clients, we've curated and brought together some of the best professionals in their fields to coach and support you through your reboot journey. In certain episodes, we'll be sharing some excerpts from our coaches' sessions, and I hope that you find these helpful.
Hey everyone, I have here Teddy, and Teddy just completed his time in the implementation, and he's willing to share his story and wins and experiences throughout the program. But before we get into that, Teddy, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and how you discovered the Porn Reboot system?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm originally from New York. I'm currently living in Maryland right now, but actually came across the Porn Reboot program a few years ago, and I had been kind of watching JK's videos on YouTube. I'd seen him in a bunch of different videos on YouTube, but I kind of was pushing it aside and disregarding it for a little bit. I had actually really been struggling with my out of control behavior for roughly about a decade or so. And it got to the point where it was really affecting my focus and my working and my productivity and everything like that. And I'd actually lost my job as soon as I graduated college. I lost my job, and that was like the final straw for me at that point. I had been involved in 12-step groups for a couple of years, and they really just weren't doing anything for me that I felt was moving me in the right direction. And I finally just decided to just pull the plug, and I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to see what this Porn Reboot program is all about. And I mean, my God, it was the greatest decision I've ever made, and I haven't looked back since.
I appreciate you sharing, brother. And so what were you feeling before you were joined? What was the emotions that were going through your head?
I was scared. That was the biggest emotion I had, because at that point I was, I graduated college. I was, I had this degree from a pretty good school actually, but I was, 24 at the time, and I was like going through like kind of like that mid-20s like crisis, I guess. And I was just like, holy crap, like I don't know what I'm going to do with my life right now. Like I just lost my first job out of college. And I also felt like the degree that I kind of pursued when I was in undergrad wasn't really something that I wanted to go, long term with. And I was at this point where I was like, I don't know what I want to do with my life as far as my career. I felt like my social life had really fallen through, and I'm still struggling with this out of control behavior. In fact, I felt like it just, the fact that I lost my job just made it even worse. And I just remember being at work. I had to do a lot of work on the computer at the time, on Excel and whatnot, and I couldn't focus it just seemed like it was even for like 10 or 15 minutes straight. I couldn't even focus for that long without just experiencing these ridiculous urges. And I mean, I just felt powerless, really was the word I can describe. And even in, kind of I had like an interview. Well, I wouldn't call it an interview, but I did have a meeting with my bosses at the time, and they just felt like I was out of it. And I didn't, I ended up, at that point I spoke with them. I didn't tell them what I was really dealing with, but they felt like it was appropriate for me to let me go at that point. And yeah, that was the biggest emotion was fear, but I knew I had to do something at that point.
No, thank you for elaborating on that. Yeah, so fear is what kind of got you stuck and you had some awareness to be like, man, you know what, I need to do something about this because I don't want to live life like this.
Oh, absolutely, man. Yeah.
And that's great, Ted. I appreciate you sharing. So coming into the program, brother, what were your initial experience? Was it a positive one right off the bat, or did you kind of had to go through some emotions until you experienced something that you needed to work through?
I think there was initially I think the first maybe month or so, I think there was definitely like that bit of quick motivation and positivity I had, where I was like, okay, this is actually a system where I'm feeling good about this. But I think unfortunately, I will admittedly say, I think I kind of fell back into old habits a little bit, and I just didn't feel like initially I I made some progress and then I kind of backtracked a little bit. And eventually I ended up like, staying in the program a little bit longer. I will say it wasn't until like months and months later where I really felt like I really like was just on it at that point. And I just, once I started, I just wouldn't stop. And just as far as just the level of consistency that I had with the number of the tools that I was using in my morning routine, getting out of my comfort zone was actually like one of the biggest ones. We can get into that later. But, and I mean, it really, really did show with just the level of focus that I had. I mean, I was a decent student when I was in college, but I actually ended up doing a post-bac after I joined the Point Reboot program because I'm in the medical field now. And, I have a GPA of about a 3.8 now. So like going from like a 3.2, 3.3 to a 3.8, I mean, I don't think that's a coincidence at all. I mean, just especially for the field that I'm in, like it's really competitive and you need to have good grades. And this program has helped me out so much with my level of focus, the way that I can study for longer periods of time. It really just is. I mean, I don't know what else to say, seriously.
No, that's good, man. I love that. I could feel like the gratefulness that you have from this like focus and the energy levels that you have. And so what was the tools that actually helped you kind of develop this focus where you got your GPA to a 3.8? What was the one thing, what's your anchors, if you will, that keep you sustaining this focus?
Dialogue for the dub, man. Dialogue for the dub. Yeah. So yeah, the dialogue has really, really helped me out a lot. I did a lot of dialogue with my essence. I really, really, really like that one a lot. I know a lot of people have developed a lot of different sub personalities, but dialogue with my essence really, really helped me out a lot. But also meditation. I really, really love meditation. It is just a wonderful, wonderful thing that I've been using to just ground myself every single morning. I mean, it really, really has just given me so much more clarity and focus and just has been able to calm my mind, just especially, with the job that I have, dealing with a lot of different people. It really, really, really does give me the focus that I need to be able to sustain for long periods.
That's good, man. And you mentioned dialogue with your essence. That's something that, yeah, that's from the breaking the cycle, right?
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to hear, brother. And so the meditation and this pretty much, it sounds like you're able to kind of detach from what's your thoughts and emotions and unconscious behaviors. And did you come a point when you realized, man, my addictive behavior was really unconscious? And what was that moment for you when you kind of like had that like, oh man, you know what? I'm gonna choose this direction. I don't have to engage this unconscious behavior no more. Did you experience something like that?
It's hard to say where there was a specific moment where I really experienced like this unconscious moment. I don't even know if you remember. I remember I had gotten on a call with you. I think I had been in the program for a period of time and I hadn't gotten on a call with you individually before, but I got on a call with you. You had seen I'd like been posting in the group and I was struggling and you reached out to me and I got on a call with you specifically and you really, really were able to speak to me in a way that I don't know, like it really, really did help me out. And I think at that point, from then on, it really, really I did notice a lot more progress in my reboot. There were certain affirmations I began saying to myself, but the meditation has really, really helped me out a lot. And every single morning when I wake up, after I go to the bathroom, meditate. It's the first thing I do every single morning. So it really has just been an amazing thing for me to separate myself just from the outside noise and just be able to have that moment of time for me to just focus on myself and prepare myself for the day.
No, nice, but I do remember our call, by the way. Yeah.
I wasn't sure or not.
No, I do, because you're right. Like, sometimes we're like, oh yeah, it's like
Yeah.
affirmation. Sometimes, again, some affirmation or beliefs rather are run unconsciously until you bring it to your conscious and do something about it.
Right.
And that's where you start working on it. And I know you mentioned your social, right? How does that improve? How is that for you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I really, really do believe that me getting out of my comfort zone has been the biggest, just for me personally, and what I've seen with other brothers in the group. The people that get out of their comfort zone the most are able to really rewire their brain a lot faster than others. Again, this isn't just a program about, using tools and all that kind of stuff. This really does have a lot more of a holistic thing to it than other groups that I've seen. And I've taken up dancing. I love dancing. I love salsa dancing. I do bachata. I do line dancing now too. And there's a lot of girls that I meet there that, I have seen now. So it's just like, it's really just a great way for me to get involved and be social with people and get out of my comfort zone. And yeah, that social aspect has really helped me. And then another thing that obviously I know that JK has spoken very highly about was Toastmasters. And I'm actually still in Toastmasters at my school. And I'm going to be taking more of a leadership position there as well this coming semester in the spring. So I'm really, really happy about the progress that I've made in the group and just the level of confidence that I've had when I speak with people. It doesn't have to do with anything where it's like, oh, I go up and I'm like afraid of what people think about me anymore. No, like I'm going up there and I'm just speaking and I'm just vocalizing, verbalizing, what I really believe. And I really do believe that this program has played a huge part in that.
Man, wow. Yeah, and I could feel that, bro. Like your how you show up and how you talk too is very certain and definitely a very different Teddy when I first met you or onboarded you into the program. So no, clearly you have some major like improvements. And what other wins have you been experiencing as you're coming off this program?
Yeah, I think I don't know if we were like this was gonna get into later, but I do believe that like my dating life is much better than it was before. Like I wasn't dating at all before I joined this program, and now I'm like actually actively dating. I remember I made this point in my goodbye post, the Facebook group, that once you kind of get to the middle, more so the late stage of Reboot, I felt like I really started doing things I didn't think I could do before. And one of those things was I would just go up to girls like in the middle of the day and just like approach them and take an interest in them. And that I think really set my Reboot apart because it really just was training my mind at that point to do things that I didn't think I could do before. But now it's like, I feel like it just comes so much more naturally to me, and it just comes off in a way. It's like the girl that I'm speaking with is like, wow, like this dude like has some confidence. Like most guys aren't doing this during the middle of the day, but I'm
Yeah.
doing it like it's nothing. And there's no freaking way I would have been able to do this before I joined this group. So that's all I can say to that.
And that's because also you're obviously a part of the dating reboot program
Right.
as well,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
no, I and I'm glad you touched on that. And because I know Andrew's a coach there, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So what did you learn from him? What are you implementing that actually helped you be at this stage in your dating life?
Yeah. The number one thing that I remember he said in the video to me and to everybody else in the group that you're gonna take away from your dating life is girls just want to have fun, man. Girls just want to have fun. They have, they have interest in us, like just like we have interest in them. And you're not gonna, if you don't shoot, you always miss. So that's simple as that, man. So at this point, I realized, like, I think I just felt very negatively about myself, and ultimately, what I really learned is your looks, all that's nice and all, but your confidence is the most attractive feature that a woman sees in you. And I just feel like I've had so much more confidence now that I've been doing these things on a much more regular basis than I was before. And a lot of women have really, really picked up on that very quickly. Like I went up to a girl that I saw, like, it must have been like, I went on a date with her like last week, but yeah, I mean, I approached this girl at the coffee shop a couple weeks ago, and she ended up texting me later on. She was like, that was very brave of you that you just went up to me like that. Like no guy ever does that to me. So I just, and so like when she texted that to me, I was like, that's whatever. Like I just do that normally now. So but yeah, so
Yeah.
it just like became like such a normal thing for me where I don't even have to think about it. And I feel like a lot of other dudes that are around me, they wouldn't even think twice about doing something like that at all.
100%. Bro, I love that. That share is so awesome. And you're right, girl. I remember that saying he does say. Girls
Yeah.
just want to have fun, and you're owning it.
Yeah.
You don't apologize for having a dick, pretty
No,
much.
no, exactly.
And that's so cool, man. I'm glad you are having, and it's only gonna get better for you.
For sure.
So, but that's a sneak peek for you for those who are interested in the dating reboot. Look at Teddy's success here, which is bullshit, right? You're getting the results, but I digress. Well, this is great, man. I really appreciate you sharing that part of your life as well. And so, what are you looking forward to, brother? What's next in your phase of reboot wise? What is it that you're looking forward to?
Well, honestly, one of the biggest things I'm most looking forward to right now is just where my career is headed. I'm applying to grad school. Like, I mean, I came from a place where before I joined this group, I had zero direction whatsoever. Yes, I did have a college degree, but it was a degree where I think I had a psychology degree, and I had initially thought I was going to be like a therapist or something, and then I actually had turned to the medical field, and I had this huge passion and desire for medicine, and I'm actually applying to physician assistant school in April or early May when the graduate school applications open. And I'm so excited. I have a great, very well-rounded resume. I know I'm going to get into a school. I'm applying to some really good schools as well. A couple of them are like a couple of the top schools in the whole country that I know that as far as my mindset goes, I have the ability to get into. But yeah, I mean, one of the things that JK really drilled into my head was, if you're going to neglect little things, you're going to fail in bigger things. And I did realize, like, once I joined this group, that before I was in this program, I was neglecting a lot of little things. And I was like, you know what? There's no freaking way I'm getting into a medical school if I'm going to be neglecting these things, because I'm going to be taking care of people And I am just so happy with where my career has gone because it really, really does. It's really going to show, the amount of progress that I've made because, being a physician assistant, working with doctors, nurses, a lot of these top providers that really rely on me to be able to deliver quality care. I'm excited for what's about to come. I really am.
Oh, I'm so happy, man. Man, that's actually really cool because you found some purpose, and I could tell you really are heading in something that's meant for you, and that's really cool to see. And mind you, you did all these things, man. Like, look, perspective wise, right? Like time, like 2 years is not really a long time, right? It's
No,
like, bro, like imagine in the next 3 years, like holy shit, your life is gonna change.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's just a matter of like the patience and obviously persevering and maintaining the little things that have worked for you, right? I agree with you there. What JK said is how you do the little things is how you do everything, right? In essence. So that is so cool to see that you've actually developed something that's specific that works for you, right? Not everyone is going to have the exact same experience as here, Teddy, but the principles and the tools work for everyone. It's just you got to play around with it, right? See what works for you. See
Sure.
what clicks in your mind, right? That switch. You're like, oh, damn, I didn't really see it that way. It's just sometimes our mind tends to just label everything, create a story around it, and get stuck there, right? Or feel guilty and be stuck for many years. But nah, man, fuck all that, right? Like, look
Yeah,
at
there you go. Right, yeah.
you're like, it's not. I gotta move forward. The future is bigger than your past. It really is. So, any last words here for brothers that are like, let's say they're like in an exact similar situation that you were in. They're like, man, perhaps I'm still in school. I suck at school right now. I can't focus, but I know I have an issue with my out of control sexual behavior. What would you tell that person? What would you tell them?
Don't procrastinate. That's the biggest thing I can say. I used to be a master procrastinator, and that really is only going to build on top of itself the more you do it. And as far as I'm concerned, the more you put off dealing with this behavior, the harder it's going to be to overcome later on in your life. So especially if you're younger, like, if you're in your early 20s, mid 20s, whatever, late 20s, I don't even care if you're in your 30s or 40s, whatever. Do
Mhm.
not put this off. Like, it's probably going to take you a lot less time than you think as long as you just commit yourself and commit to it. Because once I think I was, and I noticed this in a lot of other brothers. I noticed this in myself too when I was like initially joining the program. Was I was focusing on a lot of external things like, oh my God, like I got to make sure like I have all these things blocked on my phone, on my computer. I got to like it was just like driving me insane. And it was like, this is not the way for me to live. I just feel like I'm living in like fear. Like I don't want to have to live like this anymore. I don't have to worry all the time. And ultimately, it's really just about your work ethic and whether you really want this or not. Like you can make a decision if you want to act out or not. At the end of the day, it really is up to you. And once you get kind of past that withdrawal phase, that 90-day mark, as far as I'm concerned, the only way that you can really act out at that point is if you deliberately make a decision to do so.
It's a
So
conscious
I
choice.
so it really, really is. So obviously there is going to be that period where you're going to be going through some urges and it's going to be tough and it's going to suck. I've been through it, but I'm at a point where this is behind me forever. Like, and I can safely say that. And I am never going to have to deal with this behavior ever again. No more of this like 12-step nonsense where it's like, oh, you're going to be an addict forever. And it's like, there's a part of me that almost wants to go back to those meetings and just tell all those people that are like,
You
you
don't
don't
have
have to live like this. Like,
Yeah.
this doesn't make any sense. This is not a healthy way to live. This is like, you're putting all this pressure and you're looking at this in just a negative aspect. Whereas if you just commit yourself and just put this aside from you, you don't have to deal with this anymore and you won't have to be an addict forever. So definitely don't procrastinate. Just take your time. Don't put too much pressure on yourself, but commit yourself. Don't focus so much on the external. It all comes from internal and how much you want it. And I did notice when I really made an internal thing, there was no stopping me at that point.
Wow. Hey, and your results speak for themselves, brother. And so thank you for those words. And brothers, hey, take what resonates with you. And just know it's like that Teddy said, it's never too late for you, regardless of what age you are in. It's just really taking that first step, either just talking to a Reboot strategist or reaching out to a friend, however you get help. That's the first step that you need to take. And Teddy, I appreciate you sharing. And
Sure.
brothers, thank you for listening. And Teddy, once again, man, thank you for sharing your story, brother.
You got it, dude.
All right, brother. See you in the next one.
I'm JK, your brother in this struggle. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the Porn Reboot podcast. I'll speak to you later on in the week. If you found this episode helpful, here are 4 ways I can help you with your out of control sexual behavior for free. The first way is to grab a free copy of my book, Confessions of a Porn Addict, 7 Secrets of Porn-Free Men at elevatedrecovery.org, or visit the link in the description below this episode. The second way is, if you're not sure where to start, but you'd like to learn more about my team and I, if you'd like to spend time with like-minded professionals and business owners who are controlling their behavior, then join our free and confidential group, the Porn Reboot group on Facebook. There's a link to join in the description below this episode. The third way is if you need help right now because you have a burning issue, your behavior with pornography is hurting you mentally or emotionally, you're about to lose your relationship, you want to live up to your potential, be an authentic man, and free yourself from shame, guilt, and underachieving, then click on the link in the description below this episode that says free coaching call. And the fourth way is to leave us a 5-star review if you enjoy this podcast, so that we can reach more men who are struggling in silence and bring back the lessons we learn from coaching them to freedom.